right, so today we're going to be diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay.
I've got the book summary here,
Sounds good.
and I'm excited to pick your brain about it a little bit.
Yeah.
The big idea here is that tiny changes
Right.
add up to huge results over time.
Yeah.
It's like compound interest,
Exactly.
but applied to self-improvement.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so captivating about this concept is that it's not about making these big sweeping changes.
Right.
It's about these small little habits that you do every single day.
Yeah, and the thing that really gets me excited about the book is that it gives you a framework for understanding habits and changing them.
Okay.
It's called the habit loop.
Okay.
And it's this 4-stage process that all habits go through. Sure, so the first stage is the cue.
Okay.
This is the trigger that initiates the habit.
Gotcha.
It could be anything, a time of day, a location, a certain emotion. The second stage is the craving.
Okay.
This is the desire that you feel in response to the cue.
Yeah.
It's the motivation behind the habit.
So is this where like the reward comes in?
No, the reward comes later.
Okay.
The third stage is the response.
Okay.
This is the actual habit itself, the action that you take.
Right. So this is the doing.
Exactly.
Got it.
And then finally, the fourth stage is the reward.
Okay.
This is the positive reinforcement that you get from performing the habit.
Okay. So can you give me an example?
Sure.
Okay. So walk me through how we can actually manipulate this loop.
Well, that's the brilliant part about understanding the habit loop. Once you know how it works, you can actually start to change your habits.
Okay.
For example, if you want to build a new habit,
Yeah.
you can make the cue more obvious.
Okay.
If you want to break a bad habit, you can make the cue invisible or make the reward less satisfying.
So it's not just about willpower then.
It's about understanding how your brain works
Right.
and using that knowledge to your advantage.
So you're basically hacking the system.
Exactly.
I like that.
And Clear gives you 4 laws to help you do this.
Okay. What are these 4 laws?
They're called the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay.
And they are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying.
So tell me about how we can make it obvious.
So for example, if you want to start a new habit of reading every day,
Yeah.
you could make it obvious by keeping a book on your bedside table.
So you're basically setting yourself up for success by
Exactly.
removing the friction.
Yes, and making the desired action the most obvious choice.
Love that. And what about making it attractive?
Well, this is all about making the habit appealing to you.
Okay.
So one strategy is called temptation bundling.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
This is where you pair something you need to do with something you want to do.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
Let's say you want to start exercising regularly, but you also love watching your favorite TV show.
Okay.
You could only allow yourself to watch the show while you're on the treadmill.
Oh, that's so smart.
It's a way to make the habit more enjoyable.
I love that. And so what about making it easy?
This is all about reducing the friction to starting the habit.
Yeah, sure.
So the 2-minute rule is a great strategy here.
The what?
The 2-minute rule,
Okay.
this is where you start by committing to doing the habit for just 2 minutes.
Okay.
So instead of aiming for an hour-long workout,
Yeah.
you just commit to 2 minutes of stretching or a quick walk around the block.
So it's about building momentum
Exactly.
by starting small.
Right. And what about making it satisfying?
Tell me about that one.
This is all about reinforcing the habit by making it enjoyable or rewarding.
Okay.
So you could track your progress in a habit tracker,
Yeah.
or listen to your favorite music while you work out,
Okay.
or give yourself a small reward after completing the habit.
So we're essentially hacking the reward system in our brains.
Exactly.
This is really cool stuff, and I think it's so relatable
Yeah,
because we've all struggled with building good habits and breaking bad ones.
absolutely.
So this is giving us a framework to actually understand how habits work
Mm-hmm.
and then use that knowledge to create the changes that we want to see in our lives.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful ideas in the book is the concept of identity-based habits.
Okay, what's that?
This is the idea that our habits should be aligned with our desired identity.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
you would say, I am a healthy person.
So it's about shifting your beliefs.
Exactly.
That's who you are.
Yeah, by aligning your habits with your desired identity,
Okay.
those small choices become votes for the person you want to become.
That's powerful.
It is.
It's like you're reinforcing your desired identity
Yeah,
with every action you take.
exactly.
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and that's what makes this approach so effective.
So it's not just about changing your behavior.
Right.
It's about changing your beliefs about yourself.
Well, he actually talks about this concept called the plateau of latent potential.
Okay. The what?
plateau of latent potential. And it's basically the idea that sometimes we're putting in the effort,
Yeah.
but we don't see the results right away.
Right.
And it can be really discouraging.
Yes.
But he uses this great analogy of an ice cube melting.
Oh.
So imagine you have an ice cube
Yeah.
and you're gradually increasing the temperature.
Okay.
For a while, nothing seems to be happening.
Right.
The ice cube is still solid.
It looks the same.
Exactly, but then you hit a certain temperature,
Yeah.
and suddenly the ice cube starts to melt rapidly.
Oh, I see.
And it's the same with our habits.
Okay.
Sometimes we're putting in the work,
Mm.
but we don't see the results immediately.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden,
Good.
we hit a breakthrough.
Okay, so even when it feels like we're not making progress,
Right.
she trusts the process.
Exactly. You're still building those neural pathways.
Okay.
You're still making those changes at a subconscious level.
So it's about consistency over perfection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that can be really discouraging.
It-
When you feel like you're putting in the effort and you're not seeing the results.
Exactly.
So that's really encouraging, actually.
Yeah. So Clear says you can actually use those 4 laws in reverse
Okay.
to break bad habits.
So instead of making it obvious,
Yeah.
you make it invisible.
Exactly.
And instead of making it attractive,
Right.
you make it unattractive.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, instead of easy,
Mm-hmm.
you make it difficult.
Exactly.
And instead of satisfying,
You make it unsatisfying.
okay, so give me an example of how this works in practice.
Sure. So let's say you want to break the habit of mindlessly scrolling through social media.
Okay.
To make it invisible, you could delete the apps from your phone,
Okay.
or at least move them off the home screen.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And to make it unattractive,
Yeah.
you could remind yourself of how that mindless scrolling makes you feel.
Right, maybe it makes you feel anxious.
Or drain or unproductive.
Yeah. Okay.
And then to make it difficult,
Yeah.
you could use an app blocker
Okay.
or a website blocker
Got it.
to limit your access during certain times of day.
So you're basically making it harder for yourself to
Exactly.
engage in that bad habit.
And to make it unsatisfying,
Yeah.
you could find an accountability partner
Okay.
or set up a system of consequences.
We've talked about the habit loop, the 4 laws,
Mm-hmm.
identity-based habits,
Yeah,
and even how to hack our brains
right.
to make good habits stick and break bad ones.
Exactly.
But how does all of this tie into the bigger picture
Okay.
of designing our ideal lives?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Atomic Habits isn't just about productivity hacks
Right.
or self-improvement tips.
Okay.
It's about using these principles to create a life that aligns with your values and aspirations.
So we're not just talking about changing our habits.
Right.
We're talking about changing our lives.
Exactly. Think about who you want to be
Okay.
and what kind of life you want to create.
Hmm.
What are the habits that would support that vision?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So it's about working backwards from your ideal future self
Exactly.
and then identifying the small atomic habits
Right.
that will help you get there.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Yeah.
Just start by focusing on one key area
Okay.
that you want to improve
Mm-hmm.
and build one new habit in that area.
Okay, so one thing at a time
Exactly.
that feels much more manageable. It is.
Mindset.
Ah, yes.
How does our mindset play into all of this?
Well, mindset is crucial
Okay.
because it's the foundation upon which those habits are built.
Right. So even if you have all the strategies,
Yeah.
if you don't have the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work.
It's going to be much harder. It all starts with belief.
Okay.
You have to truly believe that change is possible,
Mm-hmm.
that you are capable of becoming the person you want to be. Okay, so this goes back to that identity-based habit thing.
It does.
So it's not just about saying, I want to be more productive.
Right.
It's about believing I am a productive person.
Exactly. It's about embodying that identity.
Okay, so how do we shift our beliefs like that?
Well, the first step is to simply notice them.
Okay.
Pay attention to your self-talk.
Mhm.
When you catch yourself thinking those negative thoughts,
Yeah.
stop and ask yourself, is this belief really true?
Okay.
And is it serving me?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's about questioning those beliefs
Mhm.
rather than just accepting them as truth.
And I think a lot of times
Yeah.
when we actually examine those beliefs,
Yeah. Well, instead of saying, I'm not disciplined enough,
Mhm.
try saying, I'm learning to develop discipline one step at a time.
Okay, so it's about shifting from a fixed mindset
Yeah.
to a growth mindset.
Exactly. It's about embracing the idea that we can always learn and grow.
So we're not stuck with the beliefs
Right.
that we've had in the past.
We can change them.
Okay, that's really empowering.
It is. The Clear's never miss twice rule is a great guideline. So if you miss a day at the gym,
Yeah.
don't beat yourself up about it. Just make sure you get back on track the next day.
Okay, so it's about forgiving ourselves
Yeah, and giving ourselves permission to be human.
because we're not going to be perfect
We're not.
100% of the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about believing in ourselves, challenging negative thoughts,
Right.
and being kind to ourselves
Right.
when we make mistakes.
Yep.
Is there anything else we need to know about mindset?
Well, I think it's also important to remember that the journey itself is important,
Okay.
not just the destination.
So enjoy the process.
Exactly. Find joy in the process of self-improvement.
Celebrate the small wins.
Yeah, and focus on building a lifestyle that you love.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
Yeah,